Imagine the gut-wrenching moment when the person you've trusted like family betrays you in the most unimaginable way. Jeremiah Hayes, a successful businessman, thought he knew everything about the people around him, until he walked in on a shocking secret involving his only daughter and his most trusted employee, a betrayal that would unravel his entire life and lead to devastating consequences. This shocking story unravels the devastating consequences of misplaced trust and unchecked desires, exposing how one man's rage led to a brutal act of vengeance. Before we dive into this harrowing tale, make sure to like and subscribe to True Crime Files, HQ for more gripping stories that delve into the darkest corners of human behavior. Jeremiah Hayes was the epitome of success, a self-made businessman whose life revolved around his career and, more importantly, his daughter, Mia. After losing his wife, Clara, during Mia's birth, Jeremiah was left to navigate fatherhood alone. Devastated by Clara's death, he vowed to give Mia everything she could ever need or want, determined to ensure that she never felt the void left by her mother's absence. Mia, now 17, was the center of Jeremiah's world. Her beauty turned heads everywhere she went, she was the apple of her father's eye. Jeremiah showered her with the best life could offer, elite schooling, luxurious trips, and a sprawling home filled with love. To help balance his demanding business schedule, Jeremiah entrusted Daryl, DJ, Johnson, his longtime driver and assistant, with Mia's everyday needs. DJ wasn't just an employee, he was a trusted fixture in their lives. Over the years, he had become a constant presence, driving Mia to and from school, taking her on errands, and even stepping in for fatherly duties when Jeremiah was unavailable. To Jeremiah, DJ was like family, someone who had proven his loyalty and professionalism time and time again. For Mia, DJ was the older, reliable figure she could turn to when her father was busy. He was there for all the little moments, picking her up from school dances, carrying her shopping bags after trips to the mall, and patiently listening to her teenage woes. It was an arrangement that worked seamlessly, or so Jeremiah thought. The Hayes household seemed like a well-oiled machine, a picture of stability and comfort. DJ's role in their lives became so routine that Jeremiah never thought twice about leaving Mia in his care. In his mind, DJ was a protector, a trustworthy companion who always put Mia's safety first. Little did he know, this trust would soon be shattered in ways he could never imagine. Jeremiah's busy schedule meant he often missed the small, subtle shifts in behavior. The looks DJ gave Mia lingered a second too long, his jokes carried undertones Jeremiah failed to notice, and the once clear boundaries of professionalism began to blur. These moments would later haunt Jeremiah, but in the present, he was blissfully unaware, believing DJ to be the ideal guardian for his beloved daughter. Jeremiah's love for Mia was boundless, and his trust in DJ seemed unshakable. But the intricate web of trust, love, and dependency they had woven was about to unravel, exposing the dark truth lurking beneath their seemingly perfect lives. Mia Hayes had grown into a stunning young woman, turning heads wherever she went. Her graceful demeanor, warm brown eyes, and striking resemblance to her late mother made her a beacon of beauty and charm. Her confidence was magnetic, but behind her captivating exterior was still the vulnerability of a young woman searching for guidance and approval in a world that often saw her as a reflection of her father's wealth and success. Daryl, DJ, Johnson had always been a steady, professional presence in Mia's life, but as the years passed and Mia matured, something began to shift. At first, DJ dismissed his intrusive thoughts, chalking them up to fleeting admiration for Mia's beauty. However, as time went on, those thoughts deepened, morphing into something darker. He found himself lingering on the curve of her smile, the softness of her voice, and the way her laughter filled the space around her. The day the boundaries began to blur was an ordinary one, or so it seemed. DJ had driven Mia to the mall for one of her regular shopping trips. Jeremiah, as usual, was tied up with work, trusting DJ to take care of his daughter. After helping Mia carry her shopping bags back to the house, DJ followed her upstairs to drop them off in her room. Mia, cheerful and oblivious to the shift in his demeanor, chatted away about her latest purchases, completely unaware of the growing tension in the air. Mia thanked DJ for carrying her shopping bags inside, her usual cheerful demeanor lighting up the space. DJ lingered for a moment longer than necessary in the foyer, watching as she set her purchases down in the living room. Mia, still oblivious to any change in his behavior, casually struck up a conversation about her father and how busy he had been at work. She expressed how much she missed having her dad around more often. DJ, sensing her vulnerability, offered comforting words, subtly steering the conversation toward how dependable he was for her and how she could always count on him. As Mia laughed lightly, brushing off her concerns, DJ stepped a bit closer under the guise of helping her unpack her shopping bags. His tone became softer, his words slightly more personal than before, as he complimented her maturity and the way she carried herself. Mia felt a mix of flattery and discomfort at the sudden shift in his demeanor but tried to shrug it off as harmless. That day, DJ crossed a line. Under the pretense of guiding her into the kitchen to store some groceries, he reached out and placed a hand lightly on her shoulder, complimenting her appearance in a way that felt different from the usual praise she received. The comment was vague enough to go unnoticed if taken out of context, but the underlying intention was unmistakable. Mia froze briefly, unsure of how to react, before nervously changing the subject. In the following days, DJ's behavior became increasingly calculated. He began subtly manipulating Mia, planting seeds of doubt about whether she should tell her father about certain things, like their growing rapport. He presented himself as a confidant, someone she could trust completely, even more than her busy father. DJ was careful to maintain a professional front in Jeremiah's presence, continuing his duties as if nothing had changed. But behind the scenes, he exploited every opportunity to isolate Mia emotionally, convincing her that their secret bond was special, something no one else would understand. The dynamic between them began to shift, and Mia found herself trapped in a web of confusion and misplaced trust. Her father, consumed by his business obligations, remained oblivious to the dark truth unfolding within his own home. The facade of normalcy continued, even as the lines between trust and betrayal blurred further. Another random day after an exhausting trip to the mall. They returned home, and DJ once again helped Mia carry her bags upstairs. This time, however, he lingered in her room, standing too close as she unpacked. When Mia turned to ask if he needed anything, DJ leaned in slightly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You're special, Mia," he said, his voice low. Mia instinctively stepped back, but DJ quickly reassured her, manipulating the moment. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable," he said, his tone apologetic. "I just care about you. You know that, right?" Caught off guard and unsure of how to respond, Mia nodded hesitantly. Over time, DJ's manipulations deepened. He began framing his actions as acts of affection, telling Mia she was mature for her age and that he saw her as more than just the boss's daughter. He played on her vulnerability, subtly alienating her from others by positioning himself as the only person who truly understood her. "Your dad's so busy, always working," DJ would say. "You deserve someone who really listens to you, who cares." Mia, isolated and unsure of how to navigate the situation, found herself drawn into his web. DJ emphasized the need for secrecy, convincing her that no one would understand their connection. Meanwhile, to Jeremiah, DJ remained the model employee, professional, reliable, and devoted. The lines had been crossed, but the facade of normalcy remained intact, allowing DJ to continue his manipulation unchecked. The trust Jeremiah had in him was now a weapon, one DJ wielded to devastating effect. Jeremiah Hayes had always been an observant man, a quality that made him a successful businessman and a vigilant father. However, as weeks turned into months, he began noticing subtle changes in the dynamic between Mia and DJ. DJ's behavior, once strictly professional, had taken on an unsettling possessiveness. He lingered longer when dropping Mia off, inserted himself into their personal conversations, and acted as though he had a stake in decisions regarding Mia's life. At first, Jeremiah brushed it off, thinking it might be DJ's way of showing care for Mia. But then there were the stolen glances DJ would shoot Mia when he thought no one was looking, the subtle tension in Mia's body language when DJ was around, and the awkward silences that seemed to hang in the air whenever Jeremiah walked into the room unexpectedly. One evening, Jeremiah returned home earlier than usual from a meeting that had been cancelled. The house was unusually quiet, save for the faint sound of muffled voices coming from the upstairs hallway. Curious but not alarmed, he climbed the stairs, assuming Mia and DJ were discussing her day or planning another errand. As he approached Mia's room, the voices grew clearer. It wasn't the casual conversation he expected, there was an unmistakable intimacy to the tone of DJ's voice. Jeremiah's heart began to race, a strange sense of dread taking hold. Pushing the door open, he was hit with a sight that would forever be burned into his memory. Mia was sitting on the edge of her bed, her face pale and tear-streaked, while DJ knelt in front of her, holding her hand in a manner that was far from appropriate. His other hand rested possessively on her knee, and their closeness sent a wave of nausea through Jeremiah. "What the hell is going on here?" Jeremiah's voice boomed, shaking with a mix of rage and disbelief. Mia jerked her hand away from DJ, her eyes wide with panic. DJ, caught off guard, scrambled to his feet, stammering excuses. "Mr. Hayes, I was just comforting her. She's been going through a tough time." But Jeremiah wasn't listening. His gaze darted between Mia's tearful expression and DJ's nervous demeanor, piecing together the horrifying truth. The man he had trusted with his only child, the man who had been like a second pair of eyes when he couldn't be there, had betrayed him in the worst possible way. "Mia, is this true?" Jeremiah demanded, his voice breaking. "Has he been?" He couldn't even finish the sentence, the words too painful to speak aloud. Mia's silence was deafening. She cast her eyes downward, unable to face her father. Her body trembled, and tears streamed down her face. The confirmation he feared was written all over her. "You sick bastard!" Jeremiah roared, lunging at DJ. The years of bottled-up grief, guilt, and love for his daughter erupted in an uncontrollable wave of fury. He grabbed DJ by the collar, slamming him against the wall. DJ sputtered, trying to defend himself. "It's not what you think. I care about her." "Care about her?" Jeremiah's voice cracked as his grip tightened. "She's a child. You've been grooming her under my roof, abusing the trust one gave you." Mia let out a choked sob, pleading with her father to stop. "Dad, please. Just let him go." But there was no calming the storm in Jeremiah's heart. He shoved DJ toward the door, his voice trembling with venom. "Get out of my house. You're done here. Don't even think about coming near Mia again, or I swear to God, you'll regret it." As DJ stumbled out, Jeremiah turned back to his daughter, his anger giving way to overwhelming guilt and heartbreak. He knelt in front of her, his hands trembling as he reached out to hold hers. "Mia, why didn't you tell me?" he asked softly, his voice thick with emotion. She shook her head, sobbing. "I didn't know how. I was scared, and ashamed." Jeremiah pulled her into a tight embrace, his own tears finally falling. "I'm so sorry, baby. I should have protected you. I should have seen this sooner." But the damage was done. The trust Jeremiah had built with DJ was shattered, replaced by a burning rage that would only grow in the coming days. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a path that would end in fire and blood. Jeremiah sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel with white-knuckled hands, his chest heaving with suppressed rage. Mia's tearful confession had unlocked a wellspring of emotions he thought he had buried long ago: grief, guilt, and now a burning thirst for vengeance. He replayed her words over and over in his mind, each one slicing through his heart like a blade. His daughter, his precious Mia, had been violated by a man he trusted like family. The initial fury had been uncontrollable, but now, hours later, it was cold and calculated. Jeremiah had already been to the gas station earlier that evening, buying 2 gallons of gasoline under the pretense of needing it for his car. He dismissed DJ earlier in the day, masking his wrath under the guise of professionalism. But the mask was gone now, replaced by the face of a father hell-bent on justice. Before heading to DJ's house, Jeremiah stopped at a local bar. He ordered whiskey, the liquid fire burning his throat as he tried to numb the storm inside. He drank until his hands stopped shaking and his resolve hardened. He couldn't turn back now. DJ had taken something precious from him, and the thought of him living a carefree life after the betrayal was unbearable. Jeremiah parked his car a safe distance from DJ's modest home. The neighborhood was eerily quiet, the soft hum of streetlights the only sound. He sat in the darkness, his sharp eyes trained on the house, waiting for DJ to return. Minutes turned into hours, but Jeremiah's patience didn't waver. Finally, he saw DJ's car pull into the driveway. DJ stepped out, his movements casual, blissfully unaware of the predator lurking in the shadows. Jeremiah waited until DJ had entered the house and the lights turned on. Then, like a man possessed, he grabbed the gasoline canisters from his trunk and moved swiftly and silently toward the house. His mind was blank, consumed only by the singular goal of erasing DJ from existence. He started pouring the gasoline around the perimeter of the house, the acrid smell filling the air. He moved with precision, ensuring every entry point was covered, every possible escape route sealed off by the flammable liquid. Once the task was done, he stood there for a moment, the weight of his actions pressing against his chest. Without hesitation, Jeremiah struck the lighter. The tiny flame danced in his hand, casting an eerie glow on his face. He dropped it onto the gasoline-soaked ground, and in an instant, the fire roared to life. Flames raced around the house, climbing up the walls and engulfing it in a hellish blaze. Jeremiah stepped back, his eyes fixed on the inferno. Inside, DJ's panicked screams echoed, a chilling symphony of fear and pain. Jeremiah didn't flinch, his face set in stone as he watched the flames consume the man who had destroyed his family's peace. Satisfied that DJ couldn't escape, Jeremiah turned and walked away, the fire casting a haunting silhouette behind him. He didn't look back, his footsteps steady as he disappeared into the night. The following morning, news of the fire spread like wildfire. Neighbors reported the blaze, and authorities arrived to find the charred remains of DJ inside the smoldering ruins of his home. Investigators combed through the wreckage, initially believing it to be an accident. But the smell of gasoline lingered in the air, raising suspicions of foul play. The discovery of DJ's remains was met with mixed reactions. To the world, he was just a driver, an ordinary man. But to Jeremiah, he was a monster who had paid the ultimate price for his sins. Detectives immediately began piecing together the events leading up to the fire, determined to uncover the truth behind the gruesome scene. Reviewing surveillance footage from nearby street cameras, investigators made a significant discovery. Footage from the night of the fire showed Jeremiah Hayes's car driving in the direction of DJ's house around the time of the incident and returning shortly after the fire had started, which was around the time the neighbors started calling the fire in. While this alone wasn't enough to convict him, it raised serious suspicions, prompting investigators to dig deeper. A search warrant for Jeremiah's car and home unearthed damning evidence. Traces of gasoline were found in the trunk of his vehicle, and a receipt from a gas station dated the night of the fire confirmed he had purchased 2 gallons of gasoline. Surveillance footage from the gas station corroborated the receipt, showing Jeremiah filling the canisters with a cold, detached demeanor. When officers arrested Jeremiah, he didn't resist. Instead, he remained eerily calm, his expression unreadable. At the station, during his interrogation, Jeremiah showed no remorse. His composed facade only broke when he spoke of Mia. Tears streamed down his face as he recounted the pain of discovering the betrayal. "That man took advantage of my daughter's innocence, her trust, and my family's peace. I'd do it again." over and over. He deserved everything he got, Jeremiah declared, his voice shaking with emotion. The trial was a media spectacle, drawing attention from every corner of the nation. Jeremiah Hayes, a wealthy and well-respected businessman, was now the face of a heinous crime. The prosecution presented a solid case, supported by the surveillance footage, gas station receipts, and expert testimony confirming the use of gasoline in the fire. One of the most emotional moments of the trial came when Mia took the stand. Her voice trembled as she recounted the betrayal and manipulation she had endured, and how her father's discovery of the truth had unraveled their lives. She spoke of her father's unwavering love and the lengths he went to protect her, even when it meant crossing a line from which there was no return. Her testimony painted a picture of a man pushed to his breaking point, consumed by the need to seek justice in his own way. Despite Mia's heartfelt words, the jury couldn't overlook the premeditated nature of Jeremiah's actions. The evidence was overwhelming, and his lack of remorse only solidified the prosecution's argument. After hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict, guilty of first-degree murder and arson. Jeremiah was sentenced to 25 years in jail without the possibility of a parole. The courtroom was silent as the sentence was read, save for the quiet sobs of Mia. Jeremiah, however, remained stoic, his gaze fixed ahead as if resigned to his fate. After Jeremiah's arrest, Mia had no choice but to move in with her aunt, Jeremiah's younger sister. She welcomed Mia with open arms, determined to provide her with the stability and support she desperately needed. Mia's new life with Lorraine was far from easy. The media frenzy surrounding the case followed her everywhere, and whispers from the community made it impossible to escape the weight of her father's actions. Jeremiah's actions left a scar on everyone involved, a chilling reminder of how betrayal and rage can destroy lives. The community that once admired Jeremiah now viewed him with a mix of pity and fear, unable to reconcile the man they knew with the monster he had become. Mia's journey to reclaim her sense of self was long and arduous, but she carried with her the hope of one day finding peace amidst the ruins of her family's tragedy. Some betrayals cut so deep that they ignite a fire no one can extinguish. This story is a haunting reminder of how the people we trust the most can break us in unimaginable ways. It shows the devastating aftermath of betrayal and the destructive path of revenge when emotions take over logic. If you were in Jeremiah's shoes, would you have sought justice through the law, or taken matters into your own hands? For more gripping tales that reveal the darkest sides of human nature, hit that like button and subscribe to True Crime Files, HQ. You won't want to miss what's coming next.